where Mizzou are going to give them opportunities. If it's going to break down that way, it's going to have to be what Flo was talking about, making sure they're disciplined, making sure that they're not getting punished or even really giving away the double commits that we're seeing against Northwood, who, let's be honest, is a team that will make those opportunities count time and time again. So if they can get either away with one or just, you know, tighten up the defensive ship a little bit, tighten up the midfield, not give away as many opportunities, might be some room there for them to force this one to 5 games and take it, what many might call an upset.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's an upset more or less. Like I said before, it's just a coin flip. Who we're going to see? Are we going to see that dominant Mizzou team that we've been seeing the whole entire summer series? Or is Miami going to prove themselves right here and take down one of these up-and-coming Mizzou squads? It just depends, you know. There's so many factors that weigh into this one. That's why it's going to be a heck of a matchup. But bonus points on the field, I believe I saw somebody. Yeah, that's Titus right there for the version 1 decal. As we hop on board with him right here, one of the sponsors of the stream.
Well, a lot of action to go through this first minute of play. A lot of back and forth as the teams, I think, might be... well, at least one of them coming in a little bit warmer than the other. Mizzou did just finish their last lower bracket match, so Miami might be trying to get a little bit warm again for this one. No real opportunities going back and forth. That's the first real shot on goal I think we've seen so far. Crims with the looping one to the back post, and Zell from Miami taking it away. No challenge by Kiwi. Might have opened up things for Whale. Didn't get there in time. Miami will just take a breath, reset their rotations, and try to get this one out past midfield.
Yeah, still, like you said, no good actions so far. Both teams are still trying to figure each other out. Here comes Zell, though. Nice air dribble across, bringing this one back towards the opposite end of the field. Little opportunity right here for Miami. Good acceleration right here as well, and almost finding the redirect to find its way through for Mizzou. I couldn't catch who that was. I think that was Excelist. I believe that's who that was.
Yeah, it was Excel and got the underside pre-flip to try and get the nose on that ball and relay it on. It was actually a really clever touch.
Oh, that's a whiff right there from Kiwi, the last person back right there for, I believe that was Mizzou. But irregardless, had a chance at this one. This one just kind of floated its way through, and in my personal opinion, should have been an easy save, but regardless, Miami's on top.
A good strike as well. Long ball from Zell up towards the net. Kiwi's kind of there looking for a redirect, and I think it would need to be a little bit better from the defender. I think I saw Crims going up for that one. Oh no, sorry, it was Excel. Just didn't quite get the read on that ball as it looped in towards the Mizzou net. And it's a little bit of a cheap goal to give away. It was all the way from the other side of the field. Wasn't really anything super threatening about that. Mizzou might want that one back.
100%. Now you see Mizzou for the frustration. A couple of demolitions coming out early as well. Leaves an open net, though. Good save right there from Excel. Titus put a shot towards target. Didn't quite get the finish, though. And there's one person left to beat, and Excel did his job and just kind of waited for that shot attempt and kind of read that one like a book as well. So hats off to Excel, you know, last person back there for Mizzou. But still, the pressure from Miami is mounting against this Mizzou squad. Can they score another goal here? Only 2 minutes remaining in this ball game.
Pressure, at least for the moment, from Miami. It's the first opportunity in a long time we've seen from Mizzou. They're still not quite getting anything really threatening towards net, and that's worrying for me, Whoops. If they're not really challenging the Miami defense, that's worrisome for me, because even though they're down a goal, not putting the other team under pressure just gives them room to play. And this is one of those difficult things to do in Rocket League, where it's try and find a way through a team that just isn't under pressure. You need to do a little bit more with the offense here, and chances like that go wanting where Excelst and Crims just kind of let that ball free for Miami to get at least the rotation reset. Those need to be turned into offensive opportunities. Stat, as we're down to, what, a minute 15 left to go in this game?
Yeah, 100%. Mizzou's just struggling so far to find the back of the net. I mean, kudos to Miami's defense for, you know, keeping most of these shots out, but at the same time, they're not really being, you know, too creative with some of these goals. They're pretty much being predictable. All these lanes of attack essentially are just really, really predictable and easy saves for Miami. But minutes to go in this ball game. Here comes Zell now. Has a shot towards target, open net, and he drills that one home. Miami's up by 2.
Big double commit coming out in front of the Miami net as Excelst and Crims both went for that play and ultimately didn't come up with anything meaningful offensively. Zell just kind of walked it downfield. There was nothing fast about that counterattack. Just really rolled downfield, took their time with the ball, flicked it around. I believe it was Excelst again coming back to try and defend that one. Miami, this has been a pretty comfortable 2-0 game so far for them. It hasn't really felt like they've been challenged too much.
The shot right there from Zell. Excel staves that one away. The follow-up touch from Kiwi, just a little bit off target. The follow-up touch of the follow-up touch from Titus now. Saved away by Crims. Keeping these ones out, though. Only 30 seconds to go. Mizzou needs to go to work. Here comes Crims now on the offensive end, taken away from Titus. At midfield now, Titus pops that one, little floater. Off the back wall, should be received by Whale. Does save that one away temporarily. Zell still keeping this pressure on. Crims last person back right now for Mizzou. Kiwi with the downward shot. Can he find the angle? He does. Kiwi drills that one home. Miami up by 3.
I just want to talk about how clean the touch was from Kiwi. Knowing where the defenders were when they went out for that shot, they picked the bottom right corner and picked the exact perfect spot on the hitbox to drop that ball in. Nothing off the nose, it's off the wheels and down. It forces that ball downward and finds that angle really tight to the angle of the car going up for that shot.
Yeah, it was a perfect placement right there for Kiwi, but that should be the dagger as well. Final seconds ticking away in this game number 1. This one's going to be at midfield. Let's see if Crims can go to work here for Mizzou. Looks like he's going to go ahead and give up on the play, and Wales says, no, none of that. At least try to shoot that one towards target. But regardless, Miami's going to hang on and win this one 3-0 in a pretty dominating fashion, in my opinion, Jay.
It was a comfortable game for Miami. It didn't really feel like Mizzou put them under any pressure. They got 4 shots on goal. I can only think of the one opportunity where Excelsior was bringing that ball in, tried to pre-flip into the bump, and for whatever reason, Crims didn't really read the play correctly. Ends up double committing on it when there was an opportunity to maybe bring a slightly later follow-up that could have turned into a meaningful shot on goal. And then it turned around the other way. Zell just walked it downfield uncontested for the most part. That's the biggest thing for me, is that the goals for Miami that were scored, outside of the last one by Kiwi, the 2 by Zell, were ones that I would want back as a Mizzou defender. They were ones that it was a long ball, long clear upfield that just got missed. Yeah. And then another one that comes off a double commit offensively that no one contested effectively in the midfield.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that one. There's a couple of chances right there that Mizzou could have kept a couple of those goals out of the net as well. Would have kind of changed the tides of things in this game number 1, but Miami just kind of, picked up steam and just kept on rolling the whole entire time with that offense that they had. So, I mean, I was a little bit worried about Miami's defense headed into this matchup, but I think Flo kind of touched on this subject as well. Miami's defense is a little bit, the rotations back towards net. They leave a lot of gaps that North would pick them apart with. Mizzou haven't found those gaps just yet. That's because I think the Miami offense has been working against them.
That last opportunity with like 2 seconds left is a great example of that. It was a big double commit by Miami. You can say what you want about being a 3-0 game with seconds left to go, but you want to make sure that right down to the final touch of the ball on the ground that you're not playing with those tendencies. And Mizzou couldn't do anything meaningful with that. It ended up being a deference of a shot, Whale coming in and not getting the greatest shot on goal with their teammate up in front of that one. And it almost feels like Mizzou might be playing with their heads down just a little bit. That first game, the manner in which they conceded those first couple of goals, maybe it's gotten inside their heads just a little bit.
I mean, it could be, or they could be expecting some sort of different Miami squad. I knew they're going to be strong coming into this one. That's why I said it was a coin flip headed into this one. It just depends on what kind of team shows up on the field. And right now, like you said, we're getting that kind of lack of confidence from Mizzou, and Miami's all over it. They're applying so much pressure right now. Salas just kind of saves this one away. And still, the Miami offense is here. They're present. They're firing shots towards the net. They're going for bumps. You've seen a bump right there, trying to mix things up a little bit and approach this game differently.
You just watch how patient the Miami players are in rotation. They're not forcing this play in the slightest. They're waiting. They know right now that Mizzou cannot get this ball clear effectively. They are boost starved beyond belief. Even the best chance they've had in a while to get this clear, there's still pressure because the Miami players, they're just so well positioned to read these plays. Finally, Excelsior is able to bomb that upfield and make some space in the corner with a couple of mutual demos on the play. It doesn't come to anything. Whale can't handle it in the midfield, and Titus is all the way through and finds a way to just bully that one in. Coming from nothing, somehow Miami find a goal.
Wow, that's just ridiculous right there. But you see Zell being that disruptor on the offensive end, going for whatever bumps he can, whatever demolitions he can as well. That's what leads to this goal right here for Miami. And it's just so important. We talked about this beforehand. Getting into that defender's head, making them know that your presence is there. It's pretty much like that V1 strategy that Khan likes to do. He overextends himself on the offensive end, and then essentially it just pays out for them and leaves an open net opportunity in favor of the offense. So Miami up 1-0 now. Mizzou need to figure things out because I think they're still scoreless in this series.
That is a Big 10-4 as 4 goals right now for Miami. Nothing meaningful on board for Mizzou. That's a good opportunity. Crims picking off a bit of a misplay by Zell. Titus well positioned for the Miami defense on the play. First couple of touches on this next sequence of play. Excel says a good bounce out in front, but Crims is looking to disrupt, and there's no follow-up as well from Whale, who's just kind of waiting back very patiently as the third, not willing to commit on that play. Talked a little bit about Whale kind of floating around the pitch a little bit for Mizzou in rotation. That's an opportunity where I think Whale just needed to step up and take that shot. Touched by Crims, passing by Excelst as well. Slow opportunity to get this one in. They find a way through, but ultimately not really able to get possession back on that sequence.
Yeah, that was a huge save by Titus on the defensive end right there from Miami. Pretty much rotating cleanly, and then top of that had the angle to save that one away, but that's the gaps that we were talking about here for Miami's defense that Mizzou was trying to exploit. This one might have a double touch. No, that one's going to be missed by Crims. This is an open opportunity in transition. Can Kiwi get credit for that goal? Almost an own goal right there. Oh, Wales saves that one away just in the nick of time. Still not out of pressure just yet. Titus trying to put the shot through as well. Into the corner it goes. Excelst trying to clear that one away. Crims trying to clear it away as well. Soft touch. Here comes Zell. Double touch opportunity. Can he find it? No, he cannot. Denied by the backboard.
Crucially, too, Mizzou was at the absolute mercy of whether or not Zell had the accuracy on that shot. Nobody was positioned to get up on the backboard and try and make a challenge on that play. Miami pushing, knocking at the door of Mizzou. They've had opportunities back the other way, but it still feels like the better chances here in this game have gone the way of Miami, and they're really pushing Mizzou under pressure. Minute 20 left to go here in game number 2.
Only a 1-goal lead right now. Is this safe or is it not safe? Mizzou trying to change the tide of this one. Go over to the offensive end of the field now. Here comes Whale. Taken away by Zell. Excelst. Great challenge right there as well. Crims can't quite get the read on that one. Titus won that exchange temporarily. Whale shot towards target. Zell saves that one away as well. Comes a counterattack right now for Miami. And they push this one through and pretty much solidified this game number 2 win as well. Was popped towards midfield. Here comes Crims. Kiwi. Crims off the backboard. Can he find somebody? Can he have the connection? Zell says no, but the follow-up touch from Wales says yes.
Good pressure on transition here. Great little musty to the backboard by Crims. Excelst getting it on target. Zell has a lot to do with that. Couldn't clear it away with any sort of power, and that's the aggressive rotation in from the third that Mizzou needed to get on the board. Whale comes in, knows the defender's in a lot of trouble on that play, puts the ball in the net, gets Mizzou's first goal of the series. It's taken nearly 2 full games to put the ball in the net.
Maybe that's going to be the start of something here for Mizzou. Sometimes all it takes is that 1 goal. Final 30 seconds now in game number 2. Kiwi saves this one away. Nice demolition, though, from Whale. Titus in trouble. Pops that one up, and that's going to be a floater. And this defense from Miami hang on for 18 more seconds, or we're going to see ourselves in overtime. Or, I'm sorry, a late goal right here for Mizzou. Crims gathers this one up towards midfield. Kiwi trying to get the read. Zell trying to get the read as well. Last-ditch effort right here from Miami. Off the backboard. No boost for Zell. Whale, no boost as well. Trying to extend this play, but can't quite come up with it.
Better from Mizzou super late in this game. It just, you get the sense, though, that it's not going to take much for Miami to come away with this game. It's going to take one opening, one opportunity that they make count. Kiwi trying to air dribble that through. Crims will go back the other way. Keeps control of that one through the bump, and ultimately, Kiwi will intercept and just do enough, I think, to disrupt this opportunity that Mizzou was trying to build up. See all 3 players for Mizzou kind of circling around this ball. No one can get control of that one. We've seen a couple of opportunities like that in this series so far where Mizzou players just can't keep the ball under control. Miami won't make them pay for that one. Bounces around a little bit with 35 seconds gone here in OT.
Yeah, I think we kind of hinted towards something like we talked about. Mizzou just struggling, mentally in this matchup so far. Some of these should be easy goals, easy rotations, easy shots towards net, but for some reason they're just struggling to put 2 and 2 together and play together as that team that we know that they can be. So let's see if they can kind of get this one done in overtime. Golden goal situation. Crims at midfield still has control of this one. Whale actually taking this one away from Crims, so Crims can rotate back through on the defensive end. Get some boost as well. Open net opportunity right here from Whale. Zell should have a touch on this one, just missing contact. That one could have led to something right there for Miami. Minute and 24 into this matchup. Still a 1-1 ball game. Both teams trying to push this one through. Not too sure if Jay's mic is working or not, but
oh no, I'm here. I'm here. This was paused for effect. There was just. It's one of those times where there's just like there's not really anything more meaningful to add as an analyst. Although that is the time for the ball to get cleared from the Mizzou defense. And they don't. The double coming off the backboard. Excels just can't quite get that touchdown. Crims opts to go up high. Titus has so much time to see where that defender is going. There is just nothing but pure time and space to make that shot happen. Titus puts it underneath the attempt off the backboard for the defender. And Miami rocketing out to a 2-0 series lead here in this lower semi.
Yeah, this is a crazy performance right now for Miami. Mizzou need to figure it out, and desperately fast need to figure this one out, because like you said, Miami's on match point now, 2-0 in this series, and they need to figure out how to get past Mizzou for this final matchup to essentially extend their way through in this tournament. But they're performing very, very strong, and we all thought that Kiwi was going to be the pop-off performer in this matchup. We talked about it in the green room quite a bit, but it looks like it's been Titus so far. 2 goals, 3 saves for Miami.
You look at Zell as well with an assist and 3 saves in game 2 as well, going with the 2 goals to open things up in game number 1. It's been a pretty team effort, I think, across the board when you balance out the first 2 games of the series. The biggest thing for Mizzou is it feels very disjointed. It feels very much like the fatigue might be setting in for them in this one. They had a decent upper bracket run. They played a tough series against Penn State to drop to the lower bracket, going the distance against Oregon in the last series, and then having to zoom over to this one and start things off. Maybe there's just a little bit of that Rocket League fatigue setting in at the back of the brain, or the decisions just, they're not coming as fluid. There's not that consciousness of thought that you kind of need to make gameplay happen at very high levels in Rocket League, because of just how fast-paced the action is. You have to be mentally so far ahead of the play that as you start to slow down because you have to start thinking about things, you're in a really tough spot.
I'll tell you what, you need to get some fuel in their system. What other fuel is good other than beans? Am I right, Jay?
I mean, beans are a heck of a fuel. Although I think rocket powered battle cars run on boost. I'm just saying.
Oh, I mean, okay, well, that makes more sense then. But regardless, we're hopping into game number 3, already 30 seconds into this matchup, and we have the ping pong effect going on. Both of these teams trying to establish that, dominance on either side, get that boost control going as well. Mizzou desperately, like we talked about, need to get things going early. They need to take this lead early as well, away from Miami. That might kickstart some things here for them.
Ooh, that's a good relay. Whale was looking for that clear, came booming out of the Mizzou end, and that's what we need to see a little bit more of from the Mizzou team, finding one another on these opportunities to play through the midfield to try and catch Miami in transition. Those are the chances that you need to make count. It was a good shot by Whale, just better save coming out of the Miami defense.
There was an opportunity right there for a split second. Titus didn't take that one. Excelst was the last person back right there for Mizzou. Here comes Zell now off of the ceiling, trying to use that flip reset to catch up to this ball. Can't quite get the touch, though. Crims saves that one away temporarily. The touch right here from Crims puts him in a bad situation, though. Kiwi can't quite get the touch through. Did have a chance on that one. Still, look at the boost right now for Mizzou. Look at the boost right now for Miami as well. Starting to see the suffocation being applied right now onto Mizzou. They have little to no boost to work with, and Miami's just relentless right now with this pressure.
They have been very, very good about rotating through those big boost globes in the corners of the Mizzou, and that demo as well might open an opportunity up, but Whale spawns in a good spot. It also gets a little bit of boost back as well. Demoing a player with 0 boost often is a net gain for the player who got demoed. Unfortunately for Miami, Mizzou able to get this one clear. Whale has a good angle, and that is a banger out of the corner. You can see it from Whale's perspective. The clear upfield from Excelst right to Whale, who just picked up the boost globe, pre-flips it inside of Zell. I don't think they had any idea that Whale was looking for that angle. Finds a way to put that in, and Mizzou take the lead here in game 3.
Yeah, I had no idea either, even though Whale literally presents himself the whole entire time You know, pretty much with some of these weird touches, these weird angles. We saw a couple of them that just been denied by this Miami defense. Finally, one breaks through, and Mizzou has the lead early on. But not only that, but maybe a little bit of mind games going on as well. Whale was overextended there, going to pick up the boost for Mizzou, so they get the boost control going, as well as some mind games too for some of these demolitions, trying to open some things up right there for Mizzou. But regardless, it works out for them. Mizzou has the lead by 1. Now Miami trying to tie this one up. Zell at midfield. Kiwi as well takes this one over, has the second touch. This one water falls down too fast though for anybody to catch up with on the Miami side of things.
Miami just losing a little bit of the midfield battle right now. It's been a lot better from Mizzou, getting the ball through, finding one another in the clearance lanes, finding those diagonals where they're able to find one another and force a defender to have to make a read on whether or not that redirect from the infield corner on the team that's clearing the ball is going to come out. And the other thing too is Miami just isn't finding one another on their own touches. You see Zell just kind of launching the ball upfield, trying to get the second or third rotation to come in and win a challenge, and the timing's just off. It's allowing Mizzou to get a little bit of field position back for themselves here, and that's going a long way to relieving the pressure on their net.
35 on the board. Mizzou up by 1, trying to hunt for their second goal too. And foresee them getting this second goal, then taking this game right here, but they desperately need this game to stay alive in this tournament. Miami looking to push this one through and bust out the brooms, win this series 3-0. Titus to Zell at midfield. Kiwi cherry picking on the other side of the field. Zell keeping the pressure on this Mizzou defense, getting that boost as well. Titus off the back wall, should find Kiwi. Awkward touch from Kiwi though. Can't quite find the angle, nor get his Octane facing the right way in order to put a threatening shot towards the back of the net. But final minute is officially upon us now, Jay. Can Mizzou hang on to this lead?
Well, looking for the relay up to Excels, and you get the sense that unless Miami are able to kind of put the offensive string together, if they can try and find that pressure that they had early on in this game, where they were starving out the Mizzou defense from boost, they have a chance. But the longer they lose these midfield first and second challenges, the more time that Mizzou has to reset their rotations, the less likely it looks like there's going to be a goal for Miami. It might be the first time they haven't scored a goal, well, I mean, since game 2, but it's been a short series. They held Mizzou scoreless until very late in game number 2 in this series, and that should be a little bit worrying if you picked Miami to win this series. They're starting to fade away as Mizzou is coming into this game, into this series, with their tournament lives on the line.
Here comes the final seconds now. 6 seconds to be exact. Titus, Zell trying to get something going here for Miami. Mizzou had been literally on their side of the field for the last 30 seconds to 45 seconds, and they do indeed hang on. And they hang on in this series and win the first game right here. So it's looking like a better matchup so far. Can this reverse sweep start to get going here for Mizzou? They didn't look so dominant in this performance, but they did get the job done.
Yeah, they're forced into 9 saves. They only had 4 shots on goal themselves against Miami, but it's... I look back at that sequence, and most of those shots really came through one sequence of play early on in this game when it was still 0-0, when the result was less in doubt. After Mizzou's goal, it didn't feel like Miami really was able to put it back together. It was a great goal from Whale. It was completely unexpected out of nowhere, just looking for that lead pass, that angle that maybe the Miami defense wasn't ready for. It paid off for them, and then they just bunkered down. But Miami didn't put them under a lot of pressure. There wasn't a lot of opportunity for Miami to really build up that same level of pressure, the same rotations that we saw in the first half of that game. And that, to me, is worrying. If I'm backing Miami in this one, I want to see fireworks to start game 4. I want to see them come out like they want to win this series. Because in these close games, if they don't feel like they're in control of it, whoops, it feels like Mizzou just has enough quality to maybe see them through in that one moment.
Well, the stat line in this one, Mizzou, 9 saves, Miami, 9 shots. So the defense pretty much impenetrable that whole entire game number 3 right there for Mizzou. And that's what we need to see out of them. They had a couple of gaps in game number 1 and game number 2 that Miami just exploited and took full-on advantage of. Now this time, Mizzou locks down on the defensive end. Miami was putting some decent shots towards net, but at the same time, Mizzou was pretty much reading that one easily. And looks like we have a little bit of a disconnect on the scene right now. We're going to go ahead and try to get that player back into the lobby before we continue this matchup. But Yeah, 9 shots, 9 saves. Mizzou, Miami. That to me just speaks volumes. I feel like there was that pressure there for Miami, but Mizzou's defense pretty much just told the story in that game number 3.
It was early. It was early pressure for Miami. They couldn't capitalize on it. And as Mizzou's play got better, as they were finding one another in clears, as they were giving less opportunities for Miami's patient midfield third to find big opportunities to keep the cycle going, Miami didn't really have an answer to that. They were forced back in transition. They had to spend a lot of boost retreating. And Mizzou was just able to get it past midfield. They were able to put the defense under a bit more pressure. I mean, not really. They just relieved pressure a lot better. And Miami just couldn't find a way through.
Well, we're going to have a full reset. It was only about 15 seconds off the clock anyway. But regardless, full reset on this game number 4. But Mizzou needs to find a way to score first. I feel like that's what they really need to get that first goal off of their back. Can't allow Miami to come through first. This one might find its way through, and it does. Titus. Miami up 1.
Grim's trying to keep this one out of the corner. The first touch around Zell is great, but Titus, that second phase of the challenge, knowing that Zell's beat, comes in, just tries to win the ball, and does with great effect. It catches out, I believe it was Whale, who was right close to that play. Excels was on the other side of the field trying to rotate around, get boost, look for the third rotation in, and that 50 just went in the worst possible spot because it caught Whale off guard.
Miami almost right on cue. As I'm saying, Mizzou needs to score first. Pretty much just make me eat my words or eat my beans at this point in time, as chat's just going absolutely crazy right now about the beans and this event right now. So shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you very much for supporting these players out here and supporting this lovely charity event. But Miami up 1-0. Mizzou need to find an answer right now. They have the ball in the offensive end of the field. Here comes Crims. Wraparound pass, has the bump as well. Wales going to push that one through. We have ourselves a tie ball game.
Huge bump. That play is all made by Crims. Picks off a clear attempt by Kiwi, wins the 50 in the corner against Titus as well, and at least gets the bump to open the door for Whale to come in and win that challenge in front of Zell. Got a piece of it, managed to keep it inside the near post, and Mizzou keep this one close. I think that's an important thing for them in this game, because if they let it get away from them, series probably over.
100%. That wraparound pass to the bump, definitely what Mizzou needed to get things going. And once again, it ties back into that physicality play style that everybody's trying to implement nowadays, where you're going for bumps, you're going for demolitions, and sometimes things just kind of work in your favor. And like I said beforehand, it gets into the head of the defender. They always have their camera on a swivel, essentially looking as to where everybody is on the field. And once they see you coming for them, they know, oh my god, I have to dodge this demolition, and then it's a fake or something crazy happens. Like Cribs picks up a demolition right here, almost on cue at the midfield line. 3:15 remaining. Miami and Mizzou, both of these teams out here just tied up on the ball field, and it just seems like either way this one can go. It's just one hiccup from the defense or the offense is going to really settle this one.
Well, Whale kind of buzzing the tower on the Miami defense, as Excel's had a couple of opportunities to keep that ball alive for Mizzou. Crims will now look for an offensive lead plan. You were talking a lot about the disruption, about forcing players to have the cameras on a swivel. I think it's going to breed a generation of players that are just built by exposure to this style of gameplay, to being able to process information a lot faster, being able to understand tendencies and positioning on the field much more quickly, so that it frees up cycles of brain power to just go through and make more mechanical plays happen more consistently, because you're just able to process information that much faster out of necessity to avoid getting bumped or demoed in this day and age.
Yeah, it just reminds me, it's so relatable with like kickoff special teams for football. You kind of have to keep your head on a swivel or so you can get cleaned out, and maybe even hurt or worse, kind of hurt in that situation. Here comes Zell, pushes a shot towards target. Miami back up on top, 2:02 remaining. This is such a good team play right here from Miami. The infield pass from Zell to Kiwi, right back to Zell, catches the defense of Mizzou off guard.
A lot of that came down to the fact that Mizzou wasn't really willing to commit to try and contest the space. The pass from Zell to Titus was completely uncontested, and if you watch really closely, it forced Mizzou defenders to kind of double clutch on whether or not they were going to go. And as that space opened up, Titus put the ball right back to Zell. Great shot.
This one's a little freebie as well. Excel's gonna get credit for this one. I think he picked up an interception courtesy of Zell. and he just kind of, yeah, shot that one towards target and let the Rocket League gods do the rest.
The key thing about that one is just the timing where that interception comes in. Zell is trying to buy a little bit of space for Titus and Kiwi to finish the rotation, and ultimately just runs that ball clean into a 50 that really just has nothing wrong with it. It's upfield, it's long and slow, but crucially, it's in a spot that no one on the Miami defense could get to.
Rotation for Miami as well, being caught off guard. We talked about it time and time again, how it comes back to bite them in the butt, and this time it indeed does. Minute and 25 to go. Here comes Crims. I get that pass to Excelston. Gonna help out a little bit is Titus, I believe. Infield pass to Whale. Whale just missing contact with that one. This opportunity right there for Mizzou in the offensive segment. Double commitment right here for Miami. Could this lead to a double touch goal from Crims? He misses that one. Whale shot is wide as well. Tons of missed opportunities right here for Mizzou. Be feeling this pressure of this series right now. Here comes Crims again with another shot. Kiwi saves that one away.
Might have served a little bit better out of the fake, and Titus got lucky that the ball coming off the backboard in that first sequence of play that hit them on the spoiler didn't really get read well by the Mizzou offense. They weren't really ready to pounce on that loose ball that was kind of hovering in a much better shot to shoot, a much better spot to shoot the ball, I should say, than what they ended up getting on that next sequence of play. It almost felt like Mizzou couldn't believe their luck for a second and then kind of double clutched on this one. They've had the better chances, Mizzou, to win this game late, and I just get worried for them right now. If Miami can put it together in these last 30 seconds or even into overtime, Mizzou's chances are running out. They're up against match points still here.
Yeah, 100%. Good read right there from Kiwi as well to take away that offensive chance once again from Mizzou. Whale says the pressure, though. Here comes Excelst. Potential double touch opportunity. Can he get the pass off to Crims? Maybe on the left-hand side. Kiwi. Interception at midfield. Could be a last-ditch effort before overtime right here for Mizzou. But that one's going to go ahead and fall. And we are indeed headed to overtime in golden goal situation. Can Mizzou tie this one up? Tie this series to force this game number 5? Or can Miami get the job done?
You know what sucks for Mizzou fans out there? Whale got a double demo on the back line, and the ball just never came through. The one player who was not in a spot to get demoed, who was up for the challenge, got the 50. The double demo, meaningless. Now they have to defend OT here against Golden Goal.
Unfortunate situation, but chalk it up as another missed opportunity for Mizzou. They had several this time through. Titus and Crims in a nice 50-50 battle right there. Also rule one with the ball in between both of these two players. Zell still keeping the pressure on. Nice demolition right there from Excelst as well onto Kiwi. Crims has a chance at this one. Good challenge right here from Zell, though. Excelst one more time. Crims should let that one roll through. Potential angle on the side. Kiwi denies that one. And so far, I believe Kiwi has been the savior of this Miami squad. Close shot right there from Crims as well. And the demolition, too, from Whale. But I would say Kiwi has been the savior of this team, taking a lot of these chances away from Mizzou.
Absolutely, and Crims just a few pixels off on the angle. You could see it with the wide angle shot that Director Cam had on that one. It did not miss by much as it just skimmed past the post. And Mizzou has had the best opportunities through the last couple of minutes of Rocket League to end this game. And you're right, if not for Kiwi and the way that the Miami backline is held up against these chances, could be talking about a Game 5, the first one we've seen so far on stream.
Yeah, it's been the off-angle chances as well. It hasn't really been the threatening shots towards net. It's been the ones that Kiwi has seen and smelled out and taken away those offensive chances, like the lanes, the passing lanes that have been there. So pretty much the savior, like I talked about, of this team. But can they still hang on? Can Miami get the job done? Here comes the shot right now from Crims. Going to roll through. Lower 90 shot connects. Mizzou stays alive.
Oh, you can see Crims lining this one up. The double commit by Titus and Kiwi, intercepted by Whale. Titus landing in front of Zell. No one really sees what Crims is doing with the shot. Put behind both players. The double half flip won't get there. And Mizzou hang on. We got our first trip to Champions Field.
Oh my goodness. We talked about it time and time again. The defensive mishaps from Miami come back to just bite them in the butt. And now Mizzou, they're hunting for that reverse sweep. Miami just trying to stay alive in this tournament, trying to get the job done, trying to, just get this last and final win. And you feel like they're just so close on the cusp of doing so. But there's just been a couple of chances and opportunities that have been taken away from them. And the defense from Mizzou as well has just been so phenomenal. But this is still, in my personal opinion, anybody's ball game.
Oh, absolutely. It's been a grind. It's the only way to describe this series at this point. It has been a marathon for both of these teams. Mizzou getting that second win late, weathering the 2-0 Miami lead to start things off. It really did look like Miami had this series under control.
Yeah.
And if not for not being able to score on that early pressure that they built up in game 3, Mizzou just took that deep breath and now they're running with it. It feels like it's Mizzou's series to lose, if you ask me.
Well, 100%, and not only that, but both of these teams, whoever wins is going to be taking on Penn State. So, can Mizzou push past Miami right here with this reverse sweep to get that sweet revenge potentially against Penn State, or is Miami going to face them for the first time as well? And I think that that'll be a pretty interesting matchup too, Miami versus Penn State. But only time's going to tell between these two teams as we hop into game number 5 on this beautiful Champions Field, ladies and gents. But man, I can't call this one. I know we all swayed with Mizzou, but Miami, they're definitely showing out, but they still have that fragile defense.
They need to put together a complete 5 minutes and change of Rocket League. They need to make sure this is as flawless a performance as possible if they want to advance in this tournament. And I think they need to get a couple of goals out, as we're going to get a quick pause again, as for me, it's all about momentum in this game. Whoops. Mizzou have it in their favor right now. They weathered a tough game 3. They felt much more in control in game 4, despite going to overtime. It never felt like Miami really got things going. They found opportunities to push Mizzou back a little bit. They made it interesting, but I didn't feel like Mizzou was anywhere out of the range of difficulty in that 4th game.
And it was crazy. I think Miami actually scored first in that 4th game, and they looked really dominant early on in that matchup. But it's just been the longevity of their offense and defense that has pretty much worked against them, and Mizzou's kind of been thriving for it as well. So I mean, that just shows you the resilience from Mizzou too, to not give up and you pretty much just keep on pushing forward and then force that overtime matchup. But then it was pretty much a stalemate, in my personal opinion, when that overtime first started, and then Mizzou slowly started to tick them away, force them back into their side, and then Miami just kind of folded, like we said beforehand. So I mean, Mizzou, like you said, it's their game to lose here, and Miami, it's their game to prove as to why they should be here on this stage.
Once Mizzou got rolling, once they were able to really find a way out of the difficult section of this series, which was really games 1 and 2, I think getting that goal in game 2, not being shut out for 2 consecutive games, was a big thing. Making sure that, okay, yeah, we can score. Now we're actually able to play some Rocket League. And even though Miami put them under a significant amount of pressure to start things off in game number 3, they weren't able to score.
Yeah,
Mizzou was able to hold up defensively, and I think that in and of itself is a big burst of wind in the sails. It's that kind of defensive rally. It's a turning point in the series, because it's like, okay, finally these guys aren't able to put a goal up on us first. They're not able to stretch this lead out. We can maybe play a little bit here. Maybe hold on.
And I thought Miami. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that was the end of my thought. They've really done that. Mizzou held on, and now they're counterpunching. And that's a tough game.
I was going to say, I thought Miami was going to, start to show out as well, because typically what happens in this game when it's so close like this is whenever that first team scores, they usually have that momentum. They usually kind of, it takes that first goal essentially to get things going. But like we talked about, Mizzou just shows us to why they should be here. It's just that resistance that they put up all the time. But we're going to hop into this game number 5 pretty soon. We had a couple of disconnections on the side of I think Mizzou. I think Crim's lost connection, and then somebody else kind of lost connection as well. But irregardless, game number 5 is indeed going to be underway here shortly. But we're going to see who's going to take this one. Can Mizzou pull off this reverse sweep, or can Miami hang on and then push themselves through in this tournament?
Well, no matter who comes out of this one, Penn State has got to be sitting there watching this and going, okay, I feel like if we play like we did against Northwood, we've got a pretty good chance of making it through. I haven't seen a lot out of either of these two teams that makes me worried if I'm Penn State watching this one. But enough about the future opponents of whoever wins this one. Sells for Mizzou trying to open things up. Kiwi's in an awkward spot. Zell will come in to handle that one. Need to see a little bit more out of Miami. I think these first touches, the first chances to get the ball clear, they need to not be as awkward as it feels like it has been.
30 seconds have passed. Seems like Miami has this one just for the time being. Mizzou pushing right back towards that midfield line, and feel like there was a missed opportunity right there for Miami to kind of get something going there. Nice pass from Crims off the back wall, almost connecting with Whale there. But still, nice transition. Oh my goodness, Excelst saves that one away just in the nick of time. That's the rotation that we were talking about earlier. Mizzou cleanly rotates back to their side of the field. There was a slight chance right there, but Excelst puts his Octane right in the perfect position. Here comes Whale now. Opposite end of the field. Nice challenge from Kiwi right here. Talked about Kiwi last game. Just a game sense that they have. Can they keep this one up, though? Can they push past Mizzou? This one's going to find its way through. Kiwi, the person we were just talking about, finds the first goal here for Miami.
Awkward double commit by Mizzou as Whale comes in to challenge that one. Excelst really had the better line to go after that ball, and unfortunately the timing on that loses out for Kiwi to just split the Mizzou defense on that one. Is ultimately at a pretty good angle to shoot that one from midfield. Nobody positioned from Mizzou to defend it.
Zell trying to get another goal. He does find the double touch off the back wall. Great pass right here as well from Titus. And an even better read from Zell. Watch this one off the back wall. Crims narrowly missing that one. Miami up 2-0. Can Mizzou fight their way back from a 2-goal deficit? Jay, I'm not sure if that's possible or not, but it's a tale of two halves, essentially. Mizzou kind of get hot towards the late tail end of the game here.
A lot of that had to do with the fact that the games were close or they were ahead. Now they have to find a way to dig out from a 2-0 lead against a team that has not really gifted them a wealth of opportunities in this series to date. So what that means is they're going to have to fashion things for themselves, and it just hasn't felt like Excelst and Crims have been of the propensity to do that for Mizzou right now. They haven't really looked like having something happen for them individually, like opening the door, getting a couple of good bumps, keeping an air dribble going long enough that it really pulls the Miami defense out of position. It feels like right now this 2-0 lead may be really well insurmountable for Mizzou at the time being.
2:40 remaining. Miami up by 2. Mizzou knocking on the door, though. They have to get by this defense of Miami, which pretty much is probably in cruise control at this point in time. Nice clear right here from Titus. I think Whale actually had a piece of that one as well. Selst off the back wall. Good. I was going to say good clear right here. I thought he had the follow-up touch as well, but I think that one was taken away from Kiwi at midfield. Picks up the demolition as well. Going to reset some of these defenders. Excelst trying to clear this one towards the opposite end of the field. Time is ticking and working against Mizzou at this point. Still 2 minutes remaining, but at the same time, you have to start thinking about that clock.
Yeah, they need to mount some opportunities. And just taking a quick look at the scoreboard, there's only a single shot on goal registered so far for the Mizzou offense. This ball has spent so much time in their half right now that it just doesn't feel like anything other than this inexorable march towards a Miami win. Good pass by Kiwi down to Titus. And then better save from Mizzou as they're weathering the storm, but time is the enemy of all things when it comes to Rocket League.
You know, like I said, cruise control pretty much at this point in time for Miami, but it's not been something that they've been used to. Good demolitions, the tail end right there from Mizzou, putting up that smoke screen in front of the net as well. A lot of people don't talk about what happens. Pretty much popping that smoke in front of the net. You lose track of the ball, lose track of defenders. Everything kind of happens when you get a demolition in front of the net like that, but somehow, some way, Miami hang on. Mizzou still trying to get their first goal here. 1 minute has officially passed. Mizzou still struggling to get past this midfield line. Look at the shot right here. The placement from Kiwi as well, just out of reach. Whale saves that one away as well.
Inside the final minute, you can see the plan right now for Miami. Just sit back at midfield, let Mizzou throw the ball up to us. Hope they can't really get it past. Zell again waiting. Clever touch to get it around the first defender. Almost gets it past the challenge of Crims, but it opens up for Titus, who has nothing but net to shoot at. 3-0 Miami lead here in Game 5.
See, I'm not mad at Mizzou here for sending everybody here at the offensive end of the field. Miami just taking full-on advantage of an open net opportunity, but it's like one of those consolation goals at the end of a hockey game where you pull the goalie and you're sending everybody there towards the opposite end of the field because it's a last-ditch effort, and that's exactly what that was. Mizzou was overextending on purpose, trying to catch somebody off guard, maybe go for a demo or a bump to switch things up, and like we talked about beforehand, Miami just take full-on advantage of that one, but 30 seconds remaining in this ball game. Miami confidently up 3-0 now, and it's not looking so good for Mizzou.
No, I think it's safe to say at this point that the game and with it the series is over. Miami hold on to the bounce back from Mizzou midway through this series, but Game 5 was all about discipline from them. They really held Mizzou without a sniff at goal. They let Mizzou play into them at midfield and just picked off every single clear and put it back on net or into the corners or in the places that Mizzou weren't able to deal with. And I think that was a very complete Game 5 of Rocket League from Miami.